You sit down to work. You open your laptop, and within 4 minutes, you've checked your phone twice, reorganized your desk, and somehow ended up watching a video about deep sea creatures. Sound familiar? Here's what nobody tells you about focus. The problem isn't your willpower. The problem is that you've been trying to focus the wrong way entirely. And today, I'm going to show you exactly how to build the kind of focus that lasts for hours without leaving you completely drained by 3 p.m. Let's start with something that changes everything. Focus is not a personality trait. It's not something you either have or you don't. It's a state your brain enters when the right conditions are met. And here's the thing most people miss. Burnout doesn't happen because you focus too much. It happens because you focused the wrong way, pushed through exhaustion, ignored your brain's natural signals, and treated recovery like laziness. Those are two completely different problems with completely different solutions. So let's fix both. First, you need to understand what's actually happening when you can't focus. Your brain is constantly scanning for threats and rewards. When a task feels overwhelming, uncertain, or boring, your brain registers it as mildly threatening and steers you toward easier, more rewarding activities like scrolling. This isn't weakness. This is your brain doing its job. The trick is learning to work with that instinct instead of constantly fighting it. Here's step one. Shrink the entry point. The biggest reason people can't get started is because the task they're staring at feels enormous. Your brain looks at it, quietly panics, and finds something else to do. So make the first action almost embarrassingly small. Don't tell yourself you're going to write a report. Tell yourself you're going to write one sentence. Don't tell yourself you're going to study for 2 hours. Tell yourself you're going to open the book and read one paragraph. Once you start, momentum builds naturally. Your brain releases a small hit of dopamine when you make any kind of progress, and that feeling pulls you forward. The hardest part is always the first 60 seconds. Step two is about protecting your environment, because your environment is either working for you or against you every single minute. Notifications are not minor inconveniences. Every time your phone buzzes, your brain gets yanked out of deep concentration. And research suggests it takes over 20 minutes to fully regain that level of focus. 20 minutes for one notification. Put your phone in another room if you can. Use app blockers during your work sessions. Clean your workspace down to the essentials. Visual clutter competes for your brain's attention even when you're not consciously looking at it. A cleaner space genuinely produces clearer thinking. Step three is building a pre-focus ritual. This one sounds almost too simple, but it's incredibly powerful. Your brain loves predictable patterns. When you repeat the same sequence of actions before every focus session, your brain begins to associate that sequence with deep concentration. It starts transitioning into work mode automatically. Your ritual could be making a cup of tea, putting on specific music, taking 3 slow, deep breaths, and writing down your single goal for the session. Do this consistently for a couple of weeks, and you'll notice your brain shifts gears noticeably faster. You're essentially creating a mental on switch. Now let's talk about the burnout side of this equation, because this is where most productivity advice fails completely. Your brain operates in natural energy cycles throughout the day. These aren't random, they're biological. Trying to maintain intense concentration for 3 or 4 straight hours doesn't make you productive. It makes you exhausted, irritable, and far less effective in the back half of your day. The smarter approach is to work in focus blocks followed by genuine recovery periods. Around 90 minutes of deep work followed by 15 to 20 minutes of real rest tends to align well with these natural cycles. And by real rest, I mean something that actually lets your brain recover. A short walk, some light stretching, quiet breathing, not scrolling social media. Scrolling is stimulating, not restorative. It keeps your brain in a heightened state, and you'll return to work feeling just as tired as when you left. Step 4 is the single task rule. Multitasking is a myth. Your brain can't actually process 2 things simultaneously. What it does instead is rapidly switch between tasks, and each switch burns mental energy. By the end of a multitasking session, you feel exhausted but haven't actually accomplished much. One task, one window, one outcome per block. That's the standard. When a random thought or unrelated task pops into your head during a session, don't chase it. Write it down on a notepad beside you and return to your main task. This keeps your
mental bandwidth clean and stops those small interruptions from stealing your momentum. Step 5 is about recovery between days, not just between sessions. Sleep is the single most powerful focus tool available to you, and most people are casually destroying it. When you're sleep-deprived, your prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for concentration, decision-making, and self-control, is significantly impaired. Everything feels harder. Distractions win more easily. Even 1 extra hour of quality sleep can have a noticeable impact on how clearly you think the next day. Here's the bigger picture. Building sustainable focus isn't about white-knuckling through hours of grinding. It's about creating a system that respects how your brain actually functions. Protect your energy, structure your environment, start small and build momentum. Recover properly. Work in rhythms instead of marathons. When you do all of this consistently, those long, deep, productive sessions stop feeling like a war against yourself and start feeling almost effortless. So here's your challenge right now. Pick one thing from this video and apply it today. Just one. Maybe it's putting your phone in another room. Maybe it's building a 2-minute pre-focus ritual. Maybe it's actually taking a proper break instead of grinding through exhaustion. Drop in the comments which one you're trying. And if this kind of practical, no-nonsense content is useful to you, subscribe, because there's a lot more where this came from.